We assume math is just a tool we invented. Bridges, orbits, taxes. But that is wrong. In 1916, Karl Schwarzschild solved Einstein gravity equations and found something hidden. An object so dense that even light could not escape. It was a ghost in the numbers. No telescope saw it. No observation suggested it. It was just sitting there in the math. It took nearly 100 years for our technology to catch up and prove it real.
A few years later, Paul Dirac pushed the argument further into the unknown.
He sought an equation for the electron that unified quantum mechanics with Einstein's relativity. He found two possible answers. One was messy. The other was beautiful but seemed like fiction. He trusted the math over the observations. He predicted a particle that had not been seen. Antimatter. He summoned a ghost from the whiteboard that waited for us to find it. In the 16th century, Girolamo Cardano stumbled across something impossible. A square root of a negative number. He called them as subtle as they were useless. It was a mathematical glitch, a trick of the mind, not reality. But Raphael Bombelli did the unglamorous work of making sense of them. He wasn't looking for a shortcut. He was building rules for algebra. For 300 years, the world treated these numbers like a necessary evil. A messy scaffold used to climb to the answer, then thrown away. They were convinced these numbers were just a limitation of the human brain.
Then came the 20th century. We dove into the quantum realm.
Trying to write the rules for atoms, energy, and light.
We wrote the equations down and found something strange.
The math only worked because that fake number was already built into it. Not as a shortcut, as a requirement.
The universe was not waiting for us to invent a tool.
It was already speaking a language we dismissed as nonsense. We did not invent these numbers. We were just too stubborn to see them. The universe had been using them all along. We have spent the last few minutes looking at the container. We have deciphered the code. We know the rules of the house. But there is one thing the math cannot tell us. It can define the light waves, but it cannot explain the seeing. It can calculate the particles, but it cannot explain the observer. We have a map that describes every inch of reality. But here is the strange part.
In certain experiments, the map only makes sense if you account for who is watching. Ah, the cosmos is calling. Look at these gears turn. I can see the future. Let's explore the universe.
Not metaphorically. Literally.
The math changes depending on whether there is an observer. Whoa, what is that thing? It's glowing so brightly. The energy feels so powerful. It's moving closer. This is incredible.
What is the observer doing inside the equation? And where reality, your reality, begins. Who are we in this machine? Join me for the final act. Let us see. You assume the stars, the air, the screen in your hand. They are all there, existing independently, waiting for you to notice them. Physics says it is wrong.
We have explored how the universe is built.
From black hole origins to the mathematical code that binds it. But we have finally reached the end of the chain. The one variable that triggers the manifestation of reality. Today, we are not looking at the universe. We are looking at you. Because reality does not exist until you look at it.
This is not philosophy.
It is a measurable, repeatable fact.
One of the most scrutinized outcomes in science.
Imagine firing tiny particles at a barrier. Two thin slits cut into it. Everything you know tells you they should pass through.
And hit the wall in 2 clean bands.
That is what common sense demands. But that is not what happens. Instead, you get an interference pattern.
The particles act like they went through both slits at once.
Like a wave.
That is strange.
But the real break in reality happens the second you get curious. You try to catch the particle in the act of choosing.
The moment the detector turns on, the pattern vanishes.
It collapses back into a particle, passing through only one slit.
It behaves exactly as it should. Only because it knows it is being watched.
Now, look at the comments section.
You will find the counter-argument.
It is just the machine. It is just physical interaction.
And that is a serious, legitimate point. Maybe the act of measuring is enough to disturb the system.
At what point does physical interaction become an observation? This is the edge of what we know. The threshold between potential and certainty. Imagine reality as a book being written. The words are not on the page until you read them. The story exists in all ways at once. Waiting for the observer to lock it in. Where the past itself seems to change.
Depending on how we look at the present.
It can appear as though the past is being rewritten by how we measure the present.
It sounds impossible.
Yet the experiments consistently produce this astonishing result. We are living in a universe that invites us to participate. Not just as viewers, but as creators. Every measurement forces quantum possibilities into a single observed outcome. This is not just physics. It is the relationship between information, measurement, and reality.
You aren't just in the universe.
You are the universe. Looking back at itself. Every black hole we spoke of. Every mathematical law. Every particle that dances on the edge of possibility. You are the observer, searching for the code beneath reality. The Trilogy of Reality. We started with the physical origin. We moved to the software that runs it. And now we end at the user. Does consciousness collapse reality? Perhaps the question is backward.
Perhaps reality is what collapses into consciousness.
A focus of the universal haze. Into a moment of experience. You are the meaning maker. You are the one who turns possibilities into stories. Perhaps is the deeper observer effect. The power to exist. The power to choose. The power to be.
We have reached the end of the chain.
But the exploration has just begun. Keep looking. Sometimes it feels as though the universe is trying to reach you. Do not stop watching. The signal is waiting. Everything you see is a message.
You are the receiver.
And now you know why. This has been the Reality Trilogy. But reality is a story without an end. Stay curious. Stay present. See you in the next frame.